Hello everyone, this is Jorge here, Technical Marketing Engineer for Microsegmentation Solutions at Cisco. Today's video is to demonstrate how you can integrate Secure Workload with AlgoSec. Now, the Secure Workload and AlgoSec integration allows to deploy consistent network segmentation policies throughout the environment. Secure Workload acts as the single source of truth for policies, discovering the application workload dependencies, which then AlgoSec can consume with the Secure Workload integration. This policy is discovered and analyzed with the AlgoSec AppVis module and then prepared for change management with the Fireflow module. So now let's jump into our demo environment, and you can see here the Secure Workload instance. We have a particular organizational structure that is called ACI, and we can see the different policies that we have discovered for this application. Now, we will leverage AlgoSec to push policy to an ACI fabric. So here we have two different EPGs from ACI perspective, Zone B and Zone A, and we discover all of the dependencies for those EPGs. Now, navigating to AlgoSec to the AppVis module, I will click in the administration section, and you can see how you can start the integration workflow. Right, you just need to specify the URL of the Secure Workload cluster or instance, the VRF, and the API key. On the Discovery tab, you will also find a native integration button, right? So AlgoSec can natively integrate with Secure Workload to discover those application workspaces, right, where we discover the policies. And you can see here how I discover the ACI policy workspace, where we have those dependencies already mapped, and additional two workspaces. I will just proceed to onboard the ACI policy workspace. And in this case, you can see how AlgoSec is already consuming the policies that we discovered, right? You can see all the different segmentation policies, right, in these 5 tuple constructs that it discovered. Of course, for this demonstration purposes, I will not import all of them. I will just import 2 main policies for the demonstration. So I'm just removing all of those additional policies that I don't want to consume, right? And this also highlights how you can select what you want to import from AlgoSec. In this case, I will just select the port 22 for SSH access and the port 80 for web traffic, right? So you can see the port 22, and I'm also selecting here the port 80, right? So once this is done, I just click import, and it will then import those policies and prepare them for the policy analysis. And for that, I navigate to Applications, ACI Policy, and you can see that the current state is draft, right? So we want to analyze those policies that we just consume from workload and the impact they may have in the environment, right, before pushing them to the ACI fabric. So we can see here that 3 flows might be blocked with this policy, right, based on the analysis that AlgoSec has done. And then once that is okay and validated, we can jump into the Fireflow change management. So the very first step, of course, is to validate the change, right, as we're doing here. We validate that the checks are successful, right? And of course, the implications that it will have in the environment. In this case, some traffic will be blocked. And as well, the objects, right, that were created for this specific change. So I'm just clicking here on Replan, right, to prepare it for the next stages. And next, I click on Next. And while that change happened, I just want to navigate to ACI Fabric. Because here you will see on the ACI Fabric, navigating to the Secure Workload tenant, that I already have 2 EPGs in place, right? Yeah, I just navigate here to the application profiles, and you can see here the Secure Workload EPGs, right, for the purpose of the demo. So we have the EPG for Zone B and the EPG for Zone A. Navigating back to AlgoSec, we can see that the change is already prepared, right? We confirm the devices that we want to push these changes, that is the ACI fabric, and then AlgoSec is preparing to approve and stage the change, right? So I just click here on Approve, right? I continue the workflow, clicking on Next, and then we can see how it starts, right, to prepare to apply the change on the ACI fabric, right? And here we can see the EPGs, right, that are created. We see the consumer and the provider, how they map to the secure workload ACI fabric, right, and the policies that we will be pushing, right. The For the port 80, this specific access, and this will be in the form of a contract, right, for the zone B and zone A. Site safety changes, right, for this policy that will be implemented, and then I prepare to implement it on the device. So once I click on the implementation on the device, it will start deploying those changes into the ACI fabric, right? We can see here the implementation is in progress, is preparing the change validation. And if I navigate now back to ACI, we can see here that the contract has been pushed from AlgoSec to ACI. So this concludes how you can integrate secure workload with AlgoSec to push policies to ACI. Thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.